Pledge allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We've got two items on the agenda today. One is on the 9/11 and the other is the county's insurance. Our county attorney has been studying the insurance packages and he's not here, so let's go ahead and take care of our 9/11 meeting, which shouldn't last long. I see we have chief of police and a few more of the fire chief. The fire chief and a few more of the advisory board. Was you wanting to speak to us?
Sir, I'd like to know what the intentions of the meeting is.
Come here, David, so we can get you on camera, please.
I just heard about this meeting about 911, and I've got some concerns. I heard some rumors. I'm just here to what it's about, because I'm the chairman of the 911 advisory board, and we, the advisory board, all hear bits and pieces. We don't get told anything or anything else, and I think for any major decisions are made or anything, I think you should consult with the advisory board.
Well, let me ask you one question. Chief, where the bits and pieces you got, where did they come from?
Rumor control. It doesn't come from the commissioners or anybody else. It's just what I hear from out and about, from other department heads and stuff like that, to what they hear. I think if there's an advisory board that oversees the 911, I think we should be informed by the commissioners officially, and not hearsay, and let us know what's going on.
Can I address that, Mr. President? Number one, we were meeting in an executive session, so there wasn't any decision that could have been made legally anyway. Number two, the idea of the sheriff's department taking over 911, as I told you on the phone, was an option that I suggested to the other two commissioners. But a suggestion is not an action until it's been made formal. Number two, when we presented this to the 911 director, I told her point blank to keep this quiet until we decide to formalize it and the proper authorities could be notified. That we had a 5-hour executive session that day. We ended right at 2 o'clock, and between the time the meeting ended and the mayor went home, he already had one of your officers sitting in his office telling him that we weren't going to dispatch for the city police anymore and we were moving 911. Number one, I swear to you on my children, at no time was there any suggestion, hint, idea, or demand or request that we not dispatch for 911. Excuse me, for the city police. That's pure unadulterated garbage and misinformation, and I got an idea who spread it, okay? But I'm telling you, as chief and as a friend, okay, that was never suggested. The second thing is that 2 o'clock, and it was Friday, and we'd already been in a meeting, and I had other things to do, and it was the weekend. It could have waited, which is the idea, one of the ideas or reasons behind saying, let's keep this quiet. Because if we make a decision, then before we make it formal, that's the time when we approach the advisory boards and explain why we're doing, what we're thinking about, and everything like that. We even talked about still handling walk-in traffic by advertising if we were able to move 911, which was a suggestion. We were talked about advertising it. We still have a camera and a phone system, pretty much like you got the city police plus a camera. Okay. Anything and everything would have continued on just as is, except for the fact that we suggested it be in a different place.
Well, if you'd have said that first, Commissioner, to us, and maybe consulted with the advisory board before you make a decision on anything, or maybe share that with us, then maybe some of these rumors could stop right in their tracks.
Well, that's the point, David. We didn't make a decision, we just kind of came to a consensus about what we all thought. It was Friday afternoon. It could have waited till Monday because there wasn't going to be any action taken the next day or the next week. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
We didn't pull this out of
Well,
the...
we're here, myself and the fire chief are here because we're on the advisory board and we're just concerned. And in fact, I heard it from the fire chief this morning. And I don't know where he heard it from, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, there is a lot of rumors out here and people add to the rumors, by all means, we all know that. But the thing is you know, I'm just going to sit back and listen. If I have something to say, I hope I get to say it. And
I've never known you not to say what you feel, David.
well, you know me, Frank, pretty well. We've been cohorts, and
We didn't pull this out of thin air. We didn't sit in a room and say, let's see how much we can disrupt 911. We've had some issues that's come up. We've had some administrative problems, and we're trying to find out a way to fix that problem.
well, I just feel that you have an advisory board for that reason.
Right.
To we could probably help you with some of these decisions. So right now, I'll just sit back and
Well,
just listen.
one other solution, Chief, is, you know, if you heard these rumors, you could have asked one of the three of us whether
I
that
did.
was right or not.
I did. I asked Frank.
Okay. And he told you that nothing had been decided, right?
At the time, yeah.
Okay.
Troy?
Pretty much the same.
Okay. Anyone else about 911?
Billy, you want to say anything?
Sure.
There he is.
I like to talk.
I didn't see it. That's unusual.
This thing is way bigger than me. I've talked to each of you individually. Dave and Troy, I have talked to each individual office holder or head of agency except Dave. Okay. I went to see Dave yesterday. He was busy. I think the advisory board needs to be brought online. It has needed to be utilized from day one of its inception, okay? And it hasn't been. There are 7 agencies that 911 represents and that we all feed into there. Everybody has their input, and I will tell the 2 heads that are here, just like I told the others when I talked to them, with all the type A personalities that run these departments, I cannot believe a one of them didn't call me and say, what's up? What's going on? Jimmy Reese did. I'll give Jimmy a credit. But the communication thing, I don't know where the breakdown came. You know, I probably should have went and seen Dave after the meeting, but you guys said, we're not talking about this. If no decision has been made, we'll let you know. End of discussion for me. That's what you guys said. So I do think that advisory board does need good leadership at the top, and they want what's best for our community. In 911, everybody said, well, everybody I talked to, well, it has problems, it has problems, it has problems. Well, it definitely has problems, I do believe. But if we don't all pull together to make it better, I've had to call 911. Okay, I've had to call it. That's not a good position for the police officer to be. We normally don't ask for help, but I've had to call our 911 for my son and my wife. Okay, I've been on the end of that phone call when they answer that phone. It needs some help, and I think everybody wants to help it. But everybody I talk to, yeah, it needs help. Yeah, it does, man. What's the solution? Well, I don't know. Well, that is a fix it. Okay, and I'm not one to sit back and just complain about it without jumping in it with both. Let's get in it. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's fix it. So I don't know what the solution is exactly. Do I have time for my department to manage that completely? No, it needs a coordinator. It's sort of like the work release center is how I compare it to an extent. when we ran that for 3 months until a coordinator was found, okay, nothing was changed. We did some hiring, we did some promotion, we attended meetings, and a coordinator was found, and that thing is running exactly how I thought it would run, okay? And there's all this stuff of, well, he said, she said, he don't like her, she don't like him. Everybody in this room knows Michelle Dudley and I's past, okay? Not humongous friends by no stretch, but she can do the job. And as long as it's business being done, I don't want to say I could work with the devil if he's in charge of it, but as long as he's doing his job, or her, I don't care. Business is business if it's the best for the community. And that's sort of where we're at with that, sort of my prime example. That place is doing great, okay? Doing great, how it should be ran. So everybody needs to get together. The advisory boards definitely need to be used. It is a source of information because everybody has their input and their ideas. And if we don't all come together and hang together, we're surely going to hang apart.
So my question before we get too deep into this is that in any time in the future, the very near future or distant future, that anything is done with 911, and the commissioners that sit here want to make a decision, you're suggesting that they bring the advisory board in here, have a special exception meeting, and say, what do you guys think?
I think that.
I would, Troy?
Well, what's the name of our committee, advisory board? We're not being used.
Right.
It's a waste, 2 hours at a time of my time that's valuable
Yes.
to sit in there and talk to Billy about something that he can't change. We've
Right.
got to have the players at the table.
And the advisory board was used to hire Michelle. Okay, it has, the corrections has an advisory board. It's made up of all different people from the community.
Right.
That board was used to hire Michelle. I don't think that board made a mistake. The same thing with the advisory board. If they're used, like Troy said, I haven't been to one in 6 months at least, because I'm not just going to go in there and spend my time and spin my wheels for 2 hours and listen to everybody preach to the choir when we're not getting nothing done. I have other things to do. Okay, July 1st, we're getting ready to take on all our felony inmates. They're going to do all their time here. That's going to take up some bed space and going to demand a little attention to get logistics figured out on those guys.
The other part of that coin is, real quick, is that how many times has the advisory board met, come up with some really good ideas, and then come to the commissioners meeting and told them what their ideas were?
Well, there's a commissioner representative on the board as well as a council representative on the board. So when they're there, we would assume that that information would be relayed back to, because we relay it back to each of our departments, I would assume each player there would relay it back to their individual team,
Okay.
so to speak. That's how it's supposed to work. That's why it's all made up of everybody. There's somebody on there, so.
But I do remember the time that the advisory board come to the commissioners wanting something done with the 9/11,
Yeah.
but they didn't give us any suggestions either,
Well-
outside of raising the wages, which I understand needs to be done.
Yeah.
I think the prime thing to remember here is that, number one, there were no decisions made.
Right.
Number two, you can't inform an advisory board that, well, we're thinking about this, but we haven't made up our mind.
Right.
The proper time to do that is when the week starts, okay, which is the reason I emphasized that 911 director was told to keep it quiet, so that we have time to network and coordinate with people.
Right. Well, I think there was, like Dave said, a lot of rumor mill. My phone was blowing up. Facebook was blowing up, although names weren't named. I'm a lot of things, but I am somewhat arrogant and cocky. I will give that, but I will take that to any leader of any agency that's in this room. They all have that problem. So, but I think a lot of things were blown out of proportion. And again, I told Dale Munson, I cannot believe you didn't just call me and say,
Right.
what in the world's going on? I can't believe it. I get calls for everything else. So I don't know what all transpired, nor am I going to lose much sleep over it. You guys are the commissioners. 911 is in your control. You guys will decide what you're going to do. But again, the advisory board's here to advise and should be utilized. So that's pretty much all I have to say about it. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Frank, do you have time to, can you meet with the advisory board?
Yes.
This week?
Yes.
'Cause I mean, there's no getting around, we do have some dissension and some problems with 9/11. We need to get it solved, so
You call a meeting?
my suggestion is that Frank, our representative, meet with the rest of the advisory board this week, that we have an executive session next Tuesday before our regular meeting for the commissioner to decide what we're going to do, and then take what action we deem necessary at that time. That's my suggestion.
Sounds like a good suggestion.
Yes, sir. Just not the first, because that's Commissioner's.
When you say next week or
Our commissioners meeting is next Tuesday, the 1st of July.
will you want one before that?
I want one before that. I would like to solve this problem next Tuesday.
Maybe shoot for something Friday afternoon.
This Friday? That'll be fine.
Okay.
So he can meet with you and get your comments. The commissioners can meet next Tuesday morning before the regular meeting and make a decision on what we want to do, and then go ahead and do it, and then there won't be any rumors, because everybody will know what's going to happen. Is that satisfactory to everybody?
Yeah. And don't believe anything you hear until next Tuesday.
Commissioner Jackson, I'll get a hold of you later on today, if that's okay, and I'll let you know what we're planning. Probably Friday afternoon, sometime after around 2 o'clock or thereafter.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Okay. Can you advertise that?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Thanks.
Is that enough, is that good enough notice to you, or I just send you what time they're gonna meet?
Well, my thinking was for the commissioners to meet at 8 o'clock for executive session.
I'll send that with the code to James.
Okay. Okay.
On to insurance.
That solves the 9/11 for today. On to the problem of buying some insurance. I see we have representatives from two outfits, two different insurance brokers here. I suppose you want to address the commissioners. Our attorney has met with both of you and kind of went over the insurance and what we're getting. So whoever wants, you want to speak to, or did you want to address the commissioners?
Yeah. I think you've already been formally presented this, last Tuesday?
For which we don't have ours.
Do you have your packets?
We
didn't look at them.
We didn't.
When we got 'em?
Chris has one of the copies, and we don't have any.
That's Sharon.
But we'll go
Oh,
get them.
here, I've got a couple extra packets.
Okay.
But I'm Barbara with Niece Lukens Insurance, and I'm here on behalf of whoever wants these, yeah. Kelly Zulo and Edward Culpepper Cooper. They both were here last week to present our agency's proposal for the property and casualty. And from what they understand, they did seal the bids, and a special meeting obviously was called today. I work on the property casualty team, and since Pepper and Kelly were out of town today, they asked me to come on their behalf. And Tim, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Tim Collins, marketing specialist with Bliss McKnight. And I've been in here a few times surveying and looking at the county itself and trying to get the underwriting information needed. So we have a proposal prepared for the county. I think the county attorney has a copy of our Bliss McKnight proposal.
That's correct.
Yes, okay.
You don't have a copy of the whole proposal?
No, I do.
Okay.
Okay, good, good. What we propose, you want me to just go through our proposal?
Well, you can, yeah.
Okay, what we propose is a 5 million, 10 million limit on liability. And that being said, our liability is rated as a multi-class. We have a 5 million, $10 million limit. The first proposal provides a $25,000 deductible on law enforcement civil rights. But in the back, we did offer a $10,000 deductible, where currently you have a $100,000 deductible and a $1 million limit. So we're offering a $5 million, $10 million limit. There's no retention in between that to get to it. Employee practices liability, we offer another $5 million, $10 million limit there with a $5,000 deductible. Employee benefits, we offer another $5 million, $10 million limit. So we have 3 limits. It's called a split limit form. And so it's got a split limit. So you've got 3 limits. If you have a law claim, we'll say it doesn't take away from employee practices. You still have your 5 year permission. I'll just keep going, and anytime you want to stop and ask any kind of questions, fine. The only exclusions that we put into this policy form is we included under pollution, we included pesticides and herbicides because you have that in the past. It's spraying for your weeds and things like that. You had that in your prior forms, so we included it.
And it's excluded, you say?
Pardon me?
And pesticides are excluded?
They are not. We included it here because you've had it in the past.
Okay.
There are there's fire scene pollution. We don't feel that counties normally need a fire scene pollution. That's your county fire departments or city fire departments that need those. So we did include them. We can plug it in, but yes, it costs more money. What we included is what normally happens in a county, and that's your pesticides, herbicides, where you spray the side ditches and roads and things like that. So like in case of a claim there. We have no other exclusions in this policy form. In other words, we have no intentional acts language, no exclusions. We have no reasonable force exclusions or anything in our forms. And we do cover an insured with Bliss McKnight is all elected, appointed, part-time, and temporary workers, and rostered volunteers. So we cover volunteers. We ask that for your protection, they are rostered. So if you have some seasonal mowing or seasonal snow removal or whatever it may be, those are insurance to us because they're working for you. So we cover
So
them.
in other words, volunteers, cemetery, commission members going out and mowing cemeteries?
Yes, unless there's a provision in the trustees' policies, which sometimes there is. If there's a provision in the trustees' policy that they're covering those people, then obviously we.
No, we have a county cemetery commission.
Okay, yeah.
They work for
That's under
they
this.
volunteer to the commissioners, I should say.
Only brought that up because sometimes you see it set up a little differently in different counties. So that's not a problem there. We cover all, obviously all departments, and your law enforcement is. In the past meetings I've had here and discussions with the sheriff and a few other people that after the incidents that came about in the jail a few years ago, and you got hit with a pretty large deductible and a huge premium for that section of it, and a low limit. So I think the goal of the county at that time, at least for the sheriff, was to try to get that deductible down to a reasonable amount for the law enforcement coverage. So we're offering $25,000. We have a $10,000 option, and it's on the back there. The automobile section, we have a $5 million limit on the automobiles, and we got listed here 27 units at $1,000. Collision deductible and comprehensive deductible is $1,000. And I believe we mirrored everything you have on that as far as coverages. And I believe our schedules are up to date of what vehicles you have and don't have and so forth. We can always go through those later on before the binders come out and make sure we've got all that. But we mirrored your auto coverage, and we do have a $5 million limit. The property package, our property company, Chubb, in order to put replacement cost on all your buildings, they advised that they were grossly underinsured. And they also had a co-insurance where we have no co-insurance on your buildings. And with the zero co-insurance, you want to have them properly insured, or there is a penalty if you have a partial claim or something. So we have increased the limits by
What do you mean? There's a penalty if you have,
a penalty if you don't insure it for high enough value, and then you turn around and have say a $6 million claim on a building insurance for $9 million, there's a penalty there because you really should be insuring that possibly for $12 million in order to offset that co-insurance.
who determines what that penalty is and how much?
It's normally through an assessment, or not an assessment, an appraisal on buildings, and Chubb does their own appraisals. This Chubb Insurance Company did their own appraisals. We increased your limits by over $10 million from what you had before, but we stayed within $500 of the expiring property premium. It's a very good program, and now you've got the increased limits on all the property values, the courthouse annex and everything else is insured to the proper replacement cost limit.
And we are talking about replacement costs and not reproduction costs, right?
Right, everything that we
Let's go back to your underwriter the following year to say, look, they're doing this, it's a more favorable year. We feel like they're doing what they can to mitigate their claims. So, very pleased with
I
that.
guess the biggest thing for me is, if you're paying that much money for insurance, is that, here it is, give us your money and then we pay it and then we never hear from the insurance ever again because we're not changing the way we do things. And the reason why we're
Right.
having the issues is because someone says, here's your insurance, oh, well, you had, so many claims last year. Well, we're not going to tell you how to fix that, or we're not going to help you fix
Sure.
it. We're just going to up your premium. To me, that's just gross
Well, our procedure here would be this. If we are given a coverage this year, the first call will come from Scott Lage, which is the Vice President of Claims for Bliss McKnight. He will call whomever, the auditor, whoever you decide is the contact person for claims. Scott will call, say, hey, here's how you do claims, here's the numbers, here's the email addresses. It's quite easy, thank you for your business and so forth. And that's the first call. The second call would Mark Ennis from Risk Management would call the same person, probably through the auditor or through whomever, and say, okay, how about meeting with the department heads? I can give them a list of the programs that we'll provide for those departments or a combination of all departments and get started. And then I'm saying within a 30 to 45 day time frame, Mark will be in here and talking with you people and deciding, here's an area, looks like by your claim status, you may need a little help in that area. Let's go there first. Let's go where the problems are first. And he'll come in, he'll talk to the commissioners, talk to department heads, however you set it up, and then set those meetings up. And he'll come here and he can do the EVOC training and a lot of different things and the inside group training. So he'll come here and make contact with you. You'll see him around. I've asked him in the past, be a little more visible to the commissioners. And sometimes he's not. He'll go to the sheriff's department or the street department. He has a nice program for street departments. He comes in usually he does it during lunch hour, and that way they're not off the roads very often. He'll buy pizza and pop and everything and put on a seminar for them, about backing up and gravel off the back of your trucks and just little things that cause those little claims. They're just reminders is all they are. Most of these people know this, but making them aware again is what risk management is. So those are the first two calls you would get from us. Obviously, Barbara and Kelly and them would be in contact with you, getting everything set up as far as binders right away, but because this is a 7-1. But from us itself, that's the first calls you get.
And normally what I try to do with our clients, whether it be me personally or Kelly or Pepper, what we do try to do is come when Mark initially comes to the county, city, town, whatever, and ask for a meeting, first of all, and again, you could decide who would make this decision. But with the county, I know a lot of times it's hard because of the departments, you have elected officials and so forth. But what we like to do ideally is meet with the commissioners and the department heads and say, this is our program, this is what we have available. Mark passes out a myriad of things that are physically he would come and present, or there's a lot of web-based training. Again, as Tim alluded, he is certified to give the sheriff's department part of their continuing ed if they need it. All this is available, and it's again at no cost to you, but we feel it's a very integral part of your insurance program. So we're not going to just say thank you for the business, we appreciate it, see you next July, because that won't happen.
All right.
Okay,
Good?
good.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks, appreciate it.
Do you need another copy? Okay, appreciate that, thanks you.
Brad?
There's a packet we refined and revisited some information. And on the left side of the packet is a brochure and schedules of your property, and also the auto schedule. You know, what you've heard a significant amount of information already. I intend to share a significant amount of information. And Mr. Rappel, you've had a humongous chore put upon you with trying to work through and interpret where things are and where we're headed and where we're going. I would like to address initially a couple of things. The law enforcement. It is, in fact, this past year there was a $100,000 deductible imposed upon the law enforcement. With the buildings and the building values, I want to address that to say that we talked about co-insurance. The way the coverage is written is on a agreed value basis on a blanket, which waives co-insurance, and the entire blanket amount can be available for any one loss. While I will not dispute we should relook at building values, there is some variance, and I can tell you that every day in our office. We look at different variances, but as far as the co-insurance penalty, that is not the case in the past, nor is it the case going forward. I visited with Mr.
What did you say, Brad?
Earlier, there was a discussion with co-insurance and a co-insurance penalty on partial losses that you would share in that loss. Our form waives co-insurance. It's on an agreed value basis.
So we have no
not a
risk of
blanket.
penalty. We have no risk of penalty if.
There is no co-insurance penalty. That is correct.
Okay.
In a visit with Mr. Appel, I think there are some differences in deductible from what we've proposed, what we've had in the past, what we're proposing for the future. And I am going to recommend to you from our perspective that option 3 is on the second page, and there is one typo in there, and it is relative to the vehicles and the auto.
Where are we at, Brad, in this?
In our summary,
This, option
yes, option 3.
Next page, option 3.
The typo reflects a $1,000 comprehensive and collision deductible on vehicles. The comprehensive deductible remains at $500.
So it's 1,000 comprehensive and collision is 500.
500 comprehensive, 1,000.